Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast. My name is Ezra, and I'm joined by Ahmad and Sawyer again. Last week we had a bit of a weird recording session, but I think we've got all of our problems sort of figured out, so we should be able to go on strong for the rest of the summer, and then we'll come back even stronger in the fall. So
hopefully with no more phantom episodes.
No more phantom episodes, please, Lord.
Metal Gear Solid 5, the phantom episode.
Yes. Yes. So with that, we have kind of a weird week this week because it's E3. Today is the last day of E3. So we just have to talk about it. I don't know if we have any other options than that. So we're going to be dedicating the entire episode to just E3 news. And I figure we'll start with Microsoft's. So...
do you want to start with them or do you want to start with EA?
Oh, yeah, I guess EA was first. I didn't watch all of EA because it was like 4 hours or something like that. And
it was like 3 hours, I think. Yeah.
The only EA stuff I watched was the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order thing.
Yeah, that was the only thing I watched too.
Like the rest of like the Madden stuff was pretty much worthless.
Yeah, it's the same.
Or I guess
other than that,
it was more
it was just Apex Legends Season 2 and Star Wars were really the only things that mattered.
It was pretty much what we talked about in our Ghost episode. But,
Yeah, what'd you guys think of the Jedi Fallen Order gameplay?
Ahmad, you go first.
I don't want to say anything controversial, but I mean, I thought it looked good. I don't know. I thought it looked interesting.
I thought the gameplay looked very reminiscent of Force Unleashed.
Yeah, Force Unleashed.
It looked very much like a spiritual successor to that. I don't want to get too excited about this game because I've been burned twice in the past by EA. But at the same time, I also, being a major Star Wars fan, this game just isn't exciting me. Like, I'm gonna play it, obviously, but like I'm not super excited. It's just like, oh, there is a Star Wars game and it is coming.
Yeah, whoever the commentator was extremely excited.
Oh yeah,
he was. Well, I think Greg Miller. He was very excited about that.
Oh yeah, Greg Miller's great. But yeah, I think really the only reason why this would even be unless the reviews are stellar, the only reason why this would be a day one purchase for me would be because I want to show EA that we actually want live, like, single player Star Wars games.
Yeah, right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I was right in my prediction.
Yeah, you were. It was a familiar character. So we did E3 predictions in the Phantom episode last week, and one of them was that Sawyer guessed that we would see a familiar character pop up. It was not the familiar character I was expecting.
Were you expecting Vader?
I was expecting literally anybody else. I wasn't expecting Saw. Is that his name?
Yeah,
I can never remember his name.
Actually, I think I was. I think weren't people like expecting him? Or I don't know. The name sounds familiar. I feel like maybe even you talked about it, Sawyer, on the episode before.
Yeah, he was. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if we see more pop up. I just knew that somebody we knew was going to pop up in this trailer because Lucasfilm always does that to get people excited. Like, I mean, they need that. It's even in the movies too. They always have that one big moment that gets people talking. Rogue One had Vader scene at the end. Solo had the Darth Maul thing. Palpatine in the trailer for Rise of Skywalker. They always have this thing, so I figured they're like, oh, let's throw in at least something to get people who follow canon talking about.
Right.
Yeah. So just to give my brief thoughts, I was actually kind of disappointed overall. Like I don't know exactly what I wanted. No, not of E3, just the Jedi Fallen Order gameplay. No, this is a very exciting E3. No, I was disappointed that like the combat engine looks cool, and like there's some cool things you can do with it, like pulling the guy into the laser shot and like throwing stormtroopers on other stormtroopers with the Force and things like that. Those are cool, but it looked sort of standard action game to me, which is kind of what I didn't want, because I'm getting like 3 different action games in the next year that interest me way more than that game, and I know are going to be way better than that game as well, just because like it's not like Respawn is known for their action games. And
is Avengers one of those games, or one of the games?
No, it's not. No, it's well, I could maybe it's only 2, but Astral Chain and Final Fantasy are both like I'm more interested in those games than I am Star Wars at this point. Maybe something will change things, but Star Wars looks sort of monotonous. That was not a good demo. I didn't think that demo was very good. Like
and the environment that they showed just kind of looked whatever.
Yeah, it didn't. It looked super unfinished, which was not great. I don't know. I didn't like the demo very much.
I mean, I'm gonna hold off judgment until I play it, but of the actual game. But the trailer or gameplay trailer just kind of seemed like just a generic game that had lightsabers in it. I will say what I did like was it does aesthetically, like the character designs and outfits look like Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I did like how they have at least some sort of realism with the lightsabers. How unlike the first Force Unleashed, where your lightsaber is essentially just a baseball bat, this one it's just it one hit kills stormtroopers, which makes sense, and I think that works.
Yeah. So there was some cool stuff with Apex Legends, but I don't play that game, so
I just downloaded it last week. But I haven't even started it yet, so I don't really know anything else to say about Apex.
Do you like those types of games? Like just like that kind of like first-person shooter?
I'm not a multiplayer person, so having an entirely online battle royale multiplayer only game just doesn't interest me. However, just because it's free, I downloaded it and said, "Why not? I'll give it a shot," because I don't have to pay for PS Plus to play it.
I don't like first-person player versus player. If it's going to be player versus player, it at least has to be third person.
The only largely multiplayer game that I'll give a shot to is Warframe, just because Warframe has at least some semblance of a story, and it seems to have an interesting world, whereas Apex is just kind of does the Fortnite thing, where it has some interesting character designs, I guess, to some people, but there's really nothing to it other than just playing online in a couple of quirky areas.
Well, Apex is also following sort of a Fortnite framework rather than just going by like how do I put that? Rather than just like character customization that Fortnite does.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's interesting, but I don't really like the game. So
I'd rather play something like Destiny or Warframe than I would a Fortnite or an Apex.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Destiny.
But you guys haven't played any of the Titanfall games, have you?
I played both.
I played a little bit of Titanfall too.
Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna ask you, like maybe did that kind of pique your interest? The fact that
I don't really even count them in the same shared universe because they're so different. Like I know I've been told that it is, but I kind of just ignore that. It looks kind of like Titanfall 1, but Titanfall 2 is such a departure from what this is that I just kind of ignore it. Titanfall 1, I didn't really love. I had an Xbox Live free trial, so I played it a little bit, but it didn't really blow me away. However, Titanfall 2 was a hidden gem. That game was great, and almost nobody played it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if there's anything that can come out of Apex Legends, it'll be that hopefully it piques interest in Titanfall again, and we get a proper Titanfall 3.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. Yeah.
So let's move on because we're on a bit of a tight schedule. We've got a lot to go through. So Xbox. I'm just gonna go through.
All I see, whenever like now, anytime anybody mentions Xbox now, I'm just gonna throw up a huge X with my arms.
Okay, I think it makes sense.
So I'm just gonna go down this list that Xbox.com has. Psychonauts 2. Does anybody have anything to say about that?
I'm kind of surprised that Double Fine is actually now an Xbox. Microsoft Studio.
That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I think that's really the bigger thing to talk about. It's not necessarily the trailer for Psychonauts 2, but the fact that it's now an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, it's an Xbox exclusive, and Double Fine is now an Xbox first party, which I was not expecting.
Yeah, that was a surprise, and that also means that, at least it's interesting to me, that most of the first party studios that Microsoft now owns, majority of their back catalog was made famous for being on other platforms or multi-platform games. Like Rare was made famous with Nintendo. Ninja Theory had I guess Heaven's Sword or Heaven's whatever it was called for the PS3.
Heavenly Sword,
right?
Heavenly Sword, yeah. There was that. Obsidian had Fallout New Vegas. I believe it was New Vegas. So yeah, it's interesting to me that Microsoft's not putting in as much effort as making a new studio or studios so much as just buying them up and making them first party. Which can be frustrating because even though I have both consoles, not everybody is fortunate enough to be able to have both an Xbox and PlayStation. So these great studios just being bought up and having their stuff made into exclusives is a little bit annoying for some people, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So let's keep going down the list. Age of Empires Definitive Edition. All right. The Return of Battletoads.
I knew that was coming from last year's E3. I'm not a 90s kid, so I don't really care about Battletoads, but
yeah, I don't care about Battletoads.
I could see there are some people who are excited about it.
Yeah, and they have a right to be. I just think the names of those toads are hilarious. Zitz.
It's very 90s. It is
very 90s. This was a big surprise. I was not prepared for this. Blair Witch.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
Is a video game.
It looks very much like Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Like a cross between that and like the Friday the 13th game or Outlast or any of those like kind of games.
Yeah, it is. It is cool. It's sort of it makes a little too much sense, but I thought it was sort of a cool reveal. Ninja Theory's Bleeding Edge, which combines third-person action combat with online team multi. Oh, right, that game.
It's basically Microsoft's Splatoon.
Yes, it does look like Splatoon a lot. Although I will say I'm interested to see if they manage to pull off a sort of third-person action combat, like the kind that you see in like Bayonetta and Devil May Cry, in a online environment. I think that that's a cool idea that nobody's really tried yet, and I think that if Ninja Theory is the first one to figure it out, then get more of what I want.
I have to say that was one of my bigger disappointments of E3 was Ninja Theory has made some great games in the past. I mean, coming off of the BAFTA award-winning Hellblade: Senua's Chronicles, going from that kind of serious gameplay, like storytelling, into this is kind of disappointing.
Yeah. Let's just hope for not another DMC Devil May Cry.
Yeah, let's hope for more of a Devil May Cry 6 than a DMC 2.
Yes. Which, I mean, we're probably just going to get a DMC 6, so we don't need to worry about that. More Borderlands 3 stuff.
I mean, the
Anybody have
game
anything
looks
to say about
good.
that?
I'm probably gonna play it, but it's another one of those games where I just acknowledge the fact that it's coming out, not necessarily being excited to play it.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that. Crossfire X.
That actually
So
looks pretty cool, I have to say.
yeah, was that the one with where it was like
It was entirely pre-rendered.
yeah, it was it was that one. I don't
But
know.
yeah,
I was. It's probably not my cup of tea, but we'll see.
it's kind of
It
like
is-
Ghost Recon almost.
yeah, it does. Which we'll get to
But-
that later.
Yeah.
All right. So, this is sort of the biggest one for me. I think this is sort of one of the first big parts. If anybody had predicted that this person would show up on stage
Oh yeah.
last week, I would have called them idiots. But they're not. Keanu Reeves
Is this person breathtaking? By any
is
chance?
starring
Oh.
He is.
in Cyberpunk 2077, and I was not prepared.
I feel like the fact
I
that
fell
Keanu
out
Reeves
of
is
my
in this
chair.
game. I feel like the fact that Keanu Reeves is in this game is a selling point for so many people.
Oh,
It
it
is.
absolutely is. My
I had
my
Um,
chances of buying this game are like 50% higher now because
I was
he's-
already massively excited for this game, and I am so much more even now. Like,
Yeah.
if I
right.
wasn't already gonna get this game opening weekend or opening week, whatever
Yeah.
they're doing for games, I am definitely getting it now.
Yeah.
Like if you're on the
Sure.
sidelines about the game, you would probably be like,
Yeah.
buying
There's
it.
a
Yeah.
very, very good chance that
I mean, it's almost like this game was made for me. It's got Keanu Reeves, it's a cyberpunk game, and it's being
Yeah.
made by CD Projekt Red. Like, sign me up.
The gameplay looked like the trailer and the gameplay, the cinematic trailer looked really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It looked like
it does. It's got some neat shooting mechanics, like
It
bouncing
reminded me a
bullets
lot
off of walls and stuff like that.
right. It reminded me a lot of a couple episodes from Love, Death and Robots, and also kind of like that Blade Runner vibe.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go from massively exciting to mildly exciting. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. As a Dragon Ball fan, it looks pretty cool, but it's a Dragon Ball game, so I'm not expecting like for it to blow me out of the water. But open world
Yeah.
Dragon Ball looks fun.
Dragon Ball had a pretty big kind of deal with
Yeah.
Nintendo.
I have
We'll
to
talk about that later on.
Speaking of the Kakarot game, that's kind of a larger symptom of, I think, Microsoft's conference and just this E3 as a whole, is there was a lot of trailers that were shown but didn't quite explain what the game actually is.
Oh yeah, that was like half of the games. You had to
Because,
like go and look at gameplay later rather than
just looking at interviews, like I'm still not
Yeah.
quite sure what Crossfire X was even after that cinematic.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
we'll
I
get
was
to it
like,
later, but I
what?
still have no idea how Avengers plays.
Yeah. Well, and like, yeah, so we'll get to that later. Dying Light 2, we do know how this game plays because it's a sequel. And so that game looks cool. It was a neat reveal that you're playing as as somebody who's been infected by the disease or something like that. I haven't played the first Dying Light, but I always think it's interesting when they turn something on its head like that. So Dying Light 2. Anybody else have anything to say about that?
I haven't played the first one, but I might try it out. It looks
cool.
like it needs to find a way to kind of, at least for me, find a way to make itself differentiate from all the other zombie games, because a lot of these, like aesthetically, it's just that whole drab, brown and gray zombie survival shooter thing you see everywhere.
Right.
That is literally every video game.
That, and then like we haven't gotten to it yet, but Square Enix was just JRPG. They were all looked exactly the same. Like that's another thing with a lot of these E3 conferences it was either post-apocalyptic, some guys with guns, or a JRPG. It was really all of these games that we've seen.
That's true. That's actually except for Nintendo.
Except for
has some
Nintendo.
diversity.
Everything else
They
was
had some
either
diversity.
post-apocalyptic, guys with guns, or a JRPG.
Well, but that's what sells. You can't blame them. I like JRPGs.
Yeah, and I like games with guys with guns, but sometimes I'm like, these all look the same.
It's true. It's true. So this was a neat reveal, although it got leaked hours beforehand. Elden Ring, From Software teaming up with George R.R. Martin.
I'm sure
make a video game.
Cool, but I'm worried about how I probably won't play it just because From Software's games are so difficult.
Yeah.
Like I'll probably just end up watching the cutscenes on YouTube and not actually playing it because it's gonna be way too hard for me.
That makes sense. That makes sense to me. So apparently we're going in. This list is in alphabetical order rather than the order in which things were shown. So we're gonna have some weird, out of place stuff. The Forza Horizon 4 Lego Speed Champions expansion. It actually looked kind of cool with that, like the Lego aesthetic inside the real rendered world that Forza Horizon has. Right. Like that looked cool.
Yeah. I think like Microsoft for some of this stuff, I know we're going in alphabetical order, but a lot of it's like we're holding off a lot of the major things that we can't show yet because we haven't unveiled officially the new Xbox. And being real, a lot of the games they showed here are definitely going to be multi-gen games like they were a couple years ago. Like Watch Dogs Legion is going to be on the new Xbox, whatever it's called. But stuff like that, you can clearly tell that. I think the reason, even with Sony not being here and Bethesda not showing a whole lot and stuff like that, basically just screams that they're getting close to a new console generation, and that when Microsoft officially and Sony officially unveil their next gen hardware, that's when we're going to get an explosion of new games that are coming soon.
Yeah. Right. So Gears 5 looked kind of cool. The cinematic trailer they showed was weird. I didn't know what was going on with that. But
the one with the faces?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
But especially for Gears. I was not expecting it for Gears. But the that gameplay and then the cinematic trailer that they showed for that escape gameplay mode was fine, I guess.
So I couldn't tell, was that meant to be a trailer for like a separate campaign co-op mode, or was it meant to just be like an opening cinematic to an online, kind of like a Left 4 Dead thing where it's just an opening cinematic and then you get a whole multiplayer mode?
It says here Gears 5 features 5 thrilling modes including escape, an aggressive high stakes 3-player co-op mode featuring a suicide squad that must work together to take out enemy hives from within.
So it sounds kind of like a Call of Duty Zombies kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, and they also had some Terminator DLC, so that was cool.
Yeah, Terminator was making its rounds this E3. I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like not that the movie is particularly exciting, but
the reveal at the end of the trailer where it was just the red eyes, or like the
we're hearing the dun 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 dun, kind of like
and then the Gears mobile game.
The what?
There was the red eyes. Is that like it wasn't red eyes, but it was like red, like circular robotic eyes.
Oh yeah.
At the end of was that one?
I think it was that one, or maybe it was because I know, like, I get confused because Terminator was at Gears. No, the Gears 5 one was it showed the skulls and then the Terminator walking over them, and then
right. Never mind. Yeah, I guess that was another one then.
Was it Ghost Recon the other one that had?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was. I think it was Ghost Recon.
So
it might have been.
We are not talking about the Gears mobile game.
Yeah, I don't care.
Halo Infinite
mobile game.
There was a Gears mobile game they showed there?
Yes. Gears Pop.
Oh, yeah. I already forgot about that. I just looked up a list of the games shown at Microsoft.
We're going to skip the next one and come back to it. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. So I like that this basically soft confirmed the fact that there's going to be another Lego Star Wars game
Yeah.
before this game. There's no way they're not doing like a Lego Star Wars Episode 9 Rise of Skywalker and then this game comes out. Although, did they do
They didn't do a Last
Lego
Jedi
Star
one.
Wars Last Jedi? Huh, maybe not then. We'll see. But
I also couldn't
anyways,
tell if this game was. Is it just packing in the complete saga and Force Awakens with like a Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker add-on, or is it just a whole new from the ground
uh
up game?
it says the first sentence of this description says play through all 9 Star Wars saga films in a brand new Lego video game unlike any other.
Oh, so I guess it is a full from the ground up new game.
It's
Yeah.
either that or it's a collection of all of them plus Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. So
Do you
we'll
think we're
see.
gonna? Because I guess being called Skywalker Saga, we're not getting Rogue One or Solo in there.
No,
So
we're not.
yeah.
Microsoft Flight Simulator. That had a pretty cool showing. It's pretty,
Yeah.
which is sort of what those games are all about.
But
I'm always like interested in these games. These games are pretty cool. Like just like simulator games.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Minecraft Dungeons. This was a surprise. Like a new Minecraft dungeon crawling game is neat, I guess. I don't really care,
yeah, me
but
either.
just it looked sort of like my problem with it though is that I could basically just do that in Minecraft, so I don't know why I need to play a Minecraft RPG.
Yeah.
My question. So
Like, I mean, I think it's interesting that they're only starting to really expand the Microsoft brand now, even though this game's been out for like 10 years.
yeah, I agree with that. Ori and the Will of the Wisps was cool. It looks pretty. I need to find a way to play the first Ori game because that game looks really cute in a way that I was not expecting. So, yeah. Phantasy Star Online 2, that was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I didn't expect that.
Yeah. I was expecting a Sonic game and I got Phantasy Star Online 2. But no, yeah, I wish I could play it. Like I don't know. Maybe it'll come to PS4 eventually, but like I'm not much of a JRPG or not JRPG MMO guy. So like I always get sort of overwhelmed whenever I start an MMO. So
yeah, that's kind of me too. Like, I mean, I've never really played an MMO other than like those old kids ones you get on like Nickelodeon or whatever.
yeah,
But I might give this a shot just because the Fantasy Star brand has always kind of interested me, but I've kind of held off because a lot of them were Japan exclusives. But maybe I'll give it a shot. I don't know.
We'll see. RPG Time: The Legend of Wright. That looked really creative. It was the one that was like in the Notebook. If you guys remember.
What is it called?
It was RPG Time: The Legend of Wright. And it was it was the one that was like set in this classroom setting or something like that, and it was all and all of like the action stuff took place in a notebook.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool trailer.
Yeah, interesting concept.
Yeah. Sea of Thieves. I don't remember what they did with Sea of Thieves.
I watched the entire show and didn't remember seeing anything from Sea of Thieves.
So we're gonna skip that. Spiritfarer. Oh, this was the one where it was like starring Stella, and it was like this 2D island that you were on with this small town, and
Yeah,
there was like thunder and stuff.
This is when they were doing that whole like
like
brief indie kind of showcase thing. Yeah.
So that game looked fun. I'm probably not going to play it, but looked fun. They showed a Star Wars trailer.
It was just the same thing, wasn't it? Or just like a cut down version of the same trailer?
No, it was more of like a story focused trailer where it was like it was sort of contextualizing the demo effectively.
Oh, yeah. Talked about because that was the one where you see Cal jump on the ATST.
Yeah. Some State of Decay 2 DLC.
Speaking of drab brown games about the post-apocalypse.
Seriously. Like that did not look. That was not a good trailer. Like it was all right, but it was not
that and Dying Light 2 looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Tales of Arise as a guy who likes the Tales of series, this game looked cool. I don't know really anything about it aside from that trailer. It does look like they're sort of abandoning the JRPG formula and going with more of an open world action format, which is cool. Like I think that's a good evolution for the series, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
The Outer Worlds was there. I don't know what to think about that game. That game also looks like every other game.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
If there is one thing we know, though, from at least this E3, is we know two things. A lot of these games look the same, and that 2020 is this fall and into spring 2020 is a loaded season for games.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and it's like they all look the same when presented, unless you actually care about the franchise.
And then they're
are excited for the game, and then you're like, oh, look at that. So, except for this game, I thought this was cool. 12 minutes, which was that one where it was about
it was like overhead, top down.
Yeah, it was overhead, and it was about this guy stuck in a time loop. That game that looked kind of cool. Probably not going to be able to play it, but we'll see.
Is that going to be like an Xbox Live exclusive, or?
It doesn't say here, but
well, I mean, it would make sense because knowing Microsoft, I'm sure it'll come to PC as well with the whole Play Anywhere thing.
Yeah,
I'm interested in who made that because the Annapurna, I think.
Yeah.
That like studio also makes like well-known films as well, which is kind of interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or like at least well-regarded films recently.
Yeah, they've been really making their way into the game industry. I've noticed their name on a lot of projects.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Wasteland 3, another zombie game, I think. Yeah. No. Yes? No? It's sort of like
clearly made an impression on us.
Yeah. It's a Deep Silver Xbox Game Pass thing. I don't know. I don't care. Way to the Woods. This was the one where it was like it says it was the one where a deer and a fawn were like walking through this weird landscape, and there were giant cats and
part of the Xbox indie game thing.
Yeah, it was like that montage. So assuming that was everything of note, unless I'm forgetting something, we can now talk about Xbox Scarlet.
Oh, you're forgetting a major game.
No, we're leaving that for after Xbox Scarlet.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, there's a massive game you're forgetting.
I intentionally...
It kind of makes sense, though. It kind of makes sense.
I intentionally skipped this game. Don't worry. So, Xbox Scarlet, not much was shown about it. Like, holiday 2020.
We guessed it.
Yeah. But there's not much else to say about it. Like the specs were cool, but like I don't think that like neither console yet, although this might change, this will definitely change. because somebody's got to come out on top. But neither console has shown why I should buy that one over the other yet. So,
it's going to be the games. It's not going to be the hardware.
Well, I think that there are a few other factors like backwards compatibility, which is something that Sony's talked about. There are plenty of things like that both consoles need to show us before people can start making their buying decisions.
This E3 was kind of just a treading water year. Like next E3 is going to be the big E3.
Yeah, there were a lot of games that we've been waiting for a while that were shown, but like we are like next E3 is going to be wild, like next gen reveal after next gen reveal kind of thing. So
well, that's where we're gonna see Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2, hopefully that kind of stuff. Because I think Sony will be back next year.
Theoretically, I hope they are, because this E3 felt kind of empty without them.
Like there was a couple just briefly wanted to mention while we're on Scarlet that might also become Scarlet games that were missing from E3. We didn't see the Platinum Games Babylon's Fall.
Oh,
we didn't see Session, the skateboarding game. We didn't see Skull and Bones at Ubisoft or at Microsoft. We didn't see Gears Tactics, which I was kind of interested in. We didn't get to see any of that.
We didn't see Dishonored either. Dishonored wasn't there. I was expecting it to be.
And we're going to go ahead and say this now. We still haven't got the new Splinter Cell game.
Sawyer's begging for a character stealth game, guys.
Yes, please. I need somebody to hold me over from the end of Metal Gear. That and then Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. I was not expecting to see those anywhere near this soon, but I was. It makes sense that they weren't there either. We'll probably see something at least about one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah, that game wasn't there. That was weird because it had such a big spotlight last year, and then they were like, "Well, not this year."
I will say though, I'm surprised that Cyberpunk and Death Stranding are this current generation games and not next gen games. I was almost certain at least Cyberpunk is going to be next gen.
Cyberpunk is definitely going to come out on next gen.
Oh yeah, it'll be out on next gen, but I'm surprised it's also coming out this gen.
Yeah, I agree. But we're in that Last of Us phase of the PS4 and Xbox One era where games that are going to sort of push the hardware to their farthest are coming out, and then the new hardware will come in and run those games like a knife through butter. So and then we got the last what they ended on was Halo Infinite, confirmed to be a Project Scarlet launch title. And
I believe it was confirmed that trailer was also the opening cinematic for the game.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Cool. I mean, that trailer looked really cool.
It did.
Yeah. I'm interested by the new art style. It looks like they're going with classic Halo, which is interesting to me. Like it looks like Master Chief looked like in the original Halo, just with a new high-res update. That's interesting to me. As a Halo fanboy, I'm interested to see where the story goes. We didn't really learn much from this trailer. What we did learn, at least from some people who did some digging in the trailer, that this opening cinematic takes place a couple years after Halo 5. So I wonder what's going to happen there. Also, it's interesting to me to see with Halo Infinite that for the longest time after 343 started on Halo with Halo 4, they talked about the Reclaimer trilogy, how it was going to become the Reclaimer saga. They kind of dropped that because Halo 4 and 5 kind of did that, and then Halo 5 didn't get great reviews, so now they're calling this a spiritual reboot, where it's going to be part of the. It's not going to be a reboot timeline and continuity wise, but it's going to be a good starting point for people. Which I guess is why it's not called Halo 6. I want this game to be a good, or I guess a true Halo game, because Halo 5 had good multiplayer, from what I heard. I didn't play the multiplayer, and it had really good gameplay in the single player, which I enjoyed. But the story just didn't cut it for me. So I'm really hoping this game needs to do two things. It needs to honor the legacy of Halo and what came before it, while also push forward and tell a true Halo story, which I really hope it can do. I don't want it to just, as much as I didn't love Halo 5, I don't want it to just abandon those story threads and forget everything it started.
Yeah,
I got to play a small amount of Halo 2 before the semester ended, and I got to say it that was my first time playing a Halo game in a really long time, and I kind of want to revisit some of those older games, just out of sheer just fun.
You could definitely do that because Master Chief Collection is now going to be on PC, and it's already it's a much better product on Xbox One than it was when it launched.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool.
Those were fun games. Huh.
Oh yeah, they are some of the quintessential video game. It's probably one of the most iconic video game series ever.
Yeah.
Well, isn't Halo 2 regarded as which one's the best Halo, I guess, or is there one?
Halo 2 is often regarded as the best.
Multiplayer wise is considered the best. I'd say story wise, some people had a problem with it because it ended on a cliffhanger. It just kind of ended.
Yeah.
But I'd say story wise, the one that's best regarded is probably Reach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Reach had a great story. Personally, my favorite is ODST, which doesn't get a whole lot of love these days. But me with Halo Reach and preaching that game is almost to the level of me preaching about how great Metal Gear is. I'm always oh, I'm a Halo fan. My favorite one is ODST, and they're like, really? I didn't play that one. I'm always just going, play ODST. It's the best one.
Rules of nature.
All right. Oh, excuse me. So let's move on because we don't have a lot of time. Bethesda was next to follow Microsoft. What a horrible press conference.
Oh no.
The only thing worth talking about in this entire conference is Doom Eternal.
That's
really the only thing they have that we're talking about.
So Fallout
what about
76
the mobile game? What about the mobile
was
game?
there. I don't know if I actually don't know if I agree with you because there was one shining light in the press conference besides Doom Eternal. So Fallout 76 was there. We don't need to talk about it.
That was so awkward. I kind of want to just sheer entertainment. That was just it was just. I guess it was cool that they called out the fact that what was funny to me was the part in the beginning where they had some of the developers and talk about the mistakes and I think one of the guys, I think one of the people were talking. One of them said something like, "Yeah, we heard you guys loud and clear," or something. We took the criticism. It was just something really funny. I thought it was really awkward. And then when Todd, I think his name is Todd Howard or something.
Yeah, Todd Howard.
Apparently he's like a meme god or something. Or he's like a
he definitely is.
Right?
Okay. He's a meme. Yeah. He's a meme.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is funny because he's a respected developer as well. It's not like he's sort of.
But he was
this was a misstep, but he's sort of he's a prestigious guy. It's not
kind of he's like the developer version of Reggie Fils-Aimé. He and Reggie were respected, but they were also very memed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although to be fair, I think Reggie was fun memes, whereas Todd Howard is making fun memes, which I think is a little different.
Yeah, I think people do genuinely like Todd Howard.
Yes.
I just love how it was the game was really bad, really criticized, but at least we still have 60 million people playing the game. It just kept it was a point to keep reaffirming the fact that people are still playing the game, so touching the game up is useful, or it's worth touching up because we still have people playing the game when clearly everybody just wanted that part of the conference to just be over. I guess this is a good segue, but people just wanted to talk about just they wanted to hear about the Doom game. Then you do that was all people wanted from that segment, I guess.
I think there's one more thing we could talk about before Doom, and that's Ghostwire Tokyo, which was the Evil Within developers game.
I thought that was
that was a great.
That was
trailer.
different. Yeah, it was different.
Yeah.
If we want to talk about like different games, I guess that could kind of fall in that category.
It looks like a mix between Arrow and a Ghost Story, which I thought was. It looked like the sort of action mystery stuff that Arrow had with the like dark and creepy Ghost Story stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
You know what this game kind of reminded me of in its reveal?
What's
it kind of reminded me of like, I think this was at last year's E3, whatever that live action trailer was, where they in Japan, where they showed that like deaf dude beating up on those guys, whatever. You remember what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, that was
what game was that?
Game. I don't remember what it was called, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's like the deaf. He was a deaf guy, but he was beating up people. Yeah, I remember that.
Like this game is another one of those games this year that I was talking about earlier, where it's just I don't know what this game is. They just showed me a cinematic trailer and said, "Hey, we're excited about it, but we have no idea what it is. We just know it's the game that takes place in Tokyo." That's all we know.
The trailer was pretty cool though, and the
trailer was cool. But I would like when I'm at E3 to get me hyped about a game. I would like to know what game I'm getting hyped about rather than just a cool pre-rendered cinematic.
I agree with that.
Yeah, right.
Elder Scrolls Online was there. They had a weird Commander Keen thing. Rage 2.
That was part of the conference. I just wanted to be over. I was like, "Can we please?"
I was just like, "Get me."
Yeah, I love she like opened up. She was like, "Yeah, Saturday morning cartoon." But like in a real time or whatever game.
At least it wasn't a mobile. Oh wait, no, it is mobile.
It is. I was gonna say this is definitely a mobile game.
I read PC here, and I was like, "Oh wait, no, it's not."
That's another thing about this year's E3. I feel like they've been pushed. I feel like they've been pushing mobile games, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like.
Two of them were pushing mobile games. Microsoft and Bethesda.
I will say, even though it's technically a mobile game, Elder Scrolls Blades is also going to be on Switch and PC, so I don't fully count that as only a mobile game.
Although it's still going to be free, which we'll see. Wolfenstein Young Blood. I liked how the selling point for this games is that you get to kill Nazis.
It's
a great selling point, but I found myself laughing at how many times they said you get to kill Nazis. Like,
it was
all right, I get it.
Game, you guys.
Yeah, like the game it looks good, but at the same time, I also was kind of like, this is a really cheesy and cringy way to announce your game. Like, I get it. You don't like Nazis, neither do I. But the whole thing is like, you can kill Nazis. I'm like, that. It's not like we haven't done that in video games 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Even mentioned that, like in the previous game, you got to kill Nazis, and you get to kill Nazis in this game now too.
Every game in the Wolfenstein series was that.
That's the whole concept of Wolfenstein, that you get to kill Nazis. Like that's literally the whole point. So talk about a similar looking game, Deathloop, another time loop game, but that one actually had a pretty cool trailer with like.
Seems like Happy Death Day.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's like it's Groundhog Day, but with video game guns, basically.
It also kind of graphically reminded me of Mafia 3 for some reason. I was a little confused at first.
Yeah, I agree with that. You're right. Yeah.
So Doom Eternal had easily the best showing out of any game at Bethesda's press conference. They showed off way more like technical stuff than I would have liked them to. Like they talked about their engine way too much, and I was like, look, that's great for an interview, but don't do this at a press conference.
And they spent a lot of time with the Orion tech.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that too. Which like game streaming was another theme this year, and I was like, I don't know. As a Midwesterner, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, like there's not nearly good enough internet infrastructure yet for this to be a major thing. I also just prefer to actually own my games and not just essentially lease it to lease a license from another company. And so it still is weird for me at the end of these trailers we saw at E3 to see Stadia at the end.
Yeah. That was weird that they were just like Stadia. It's a thing.
Not like it wasn't just unveiled yesterday.
Yes. But yeah, Doom Eternal easily had the best showing. I didn't watch all of the Doom stuff because I don't care about Doom, but it looks like a lot of fun. It looks like more Doom.
I definitely will be checking this game out. It looks fun. It looks insane. I like Doom's kind of more kind of like what they were trying to go with the Wolfenstein thing. Whereas I think Wolfenstein kind of has that kind of quirky, we don't care attitude, but at the same time, it can't fully accomplish it because it's also based on some real life events. Doom just goes like, we don't care. Here's some heavy metal music, and we're gonna start shooting demons.
Yeah.
And this is a game that was, as bad as this is to say, was too good for Bethesda's show.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like this belonged at the Microsoft show 100%.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't disagree with that at all.
It also looks a lot better against something like Fallout 76 because Bethesda's been using that same engine for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
So the beautiful engine running on.
Yeah, Bethesda just needs to sort of upgrade themselves in terms of their open world stuff. Like I'm a little done hearing about how glitchy their open world games are, and like how people are like giving them passes for it basically.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe that's just me. So is there anything else with Bethesda's E3 that we want to talk about before we move on to Ubisoft?
I think that's the only other thing is that it's the symptoms that Bethesda had were the most blatant there, but the symptoms were also pervasive of the entire show of lots of mobile games, lots of game streaming, and not knowing what a game actually is.
Yes. Although I think the next two, actually all three of these next ones are conferences that, except for one exception, they did a good job of at least telling us what the game is, or at least it came from an established franchise, so we had an idea of what the game looks like. So Ubisoft
just got me extremely excited for next year's E3.
Yes. I agree with that. So Watch Dogs Legion, the third game in the Watch Dogs series. The tech that they had for that game is cooler than like the game itself and the showcase of the game. Because it's like the idea of being able to literally play as anybody. That's cool. Like playing as any NPC in the world that you've established. That's some cool stuff. But I don't care about Watch Dogs, so I'm probably not going to get this game. But
I mean, I'll probably check it out and play it. I think it's strange to me that they're basically in this game. Like, Ubisoft has been getting very political with their games to the point where it's almost like a detriment to them. Like Far Cry 5, looked like it was going to be a lot more political than it was in Far Cry 5. But like in this one, for example, it's really just you're basically, and especially the producer, I can't remember his name, but was not really helping it with just constantly saying this is a post-Brexit Europe or London.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he kept constantly saying like, in a world with all that's going on now, this is like a post-Brexit thing, and you can see people in the audience like roll their eyes. Like I was just done with that.
Well, that makes
like
it
a V
weird
for Vendetta thing.
Well, there's that, and it's weird for him to say that it's post-Brexit because that goes against the setting of the game that they've created. Because this game is about government sort of Overwatch stuff, and Brexit is sort of like
we don't want to be part of this big conglomerate thing.
Yeah, it's about anti-government control. And regardless of what you think about that, the fact is that the setting that they've created for Watch Dogs Legion doesn't make any sense if you're trying to think about it as like a post-Brexit kind of thing. But
honestly, if we're looking at Ubisoft's track record, I don't think it'll be nearly as much of this biting social commentary as we think it's going to be. Honestly,
yeah,
I think
probably.
the reason why they're doing it is because they saw how well that worked with Far Cry 5, even though the game didn't exactly have that much of a political statement. People thought it did because of the opening early trailers, and it generated a lot of buzz. So I think by doing that with this game, it's going to generate a lot more buzz for Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
I think I was just a little bit concerned with the game because they kind of make you look like you're playing as a terrorist, and I was not very much a fan of that.
That's true.
Like
That's
this game at first, I was like,
the
first two Watch Dogs really like towed the line between that. Like the first one was like, oh well, you're just kind of a vigilante anti-hero. You're not doing this against the authority or whatever. You're just doing it so you can get back at the guys who wronged you. The second one I didn't play. Like I gather from the trailers, it was the same way. This one very much just looks like, hey, we're going to recruit you so we can go out and be anti-government terrorists. And I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see because we don't have all of the context yet. So we'll have to wait and see.
They also did make a big point in that trailer in certain sequences and segments saying that it wasn't London, but like some specific security corporation they were trying to kick out of London or something like that. I can't remember the name, but they named some company.
Yeah, it was weird. That trailer there was some cool stuff there, but it was also kind of weird. So let's move on because we're let's just move on because we're kind of strapped for time at this point. New DLC for Division 2. Don't really care about that. Uplay Plus was announced.
Not surprised.
Roller Champions. That was actually kind of cool.
This game was leaked, I believe, before E3.
Yeah, there were a lot of games leaked before. Like there was I think it was sort of post EA press conference. There was just this massive leak of all of the press conferences.
Yeah.
Not Nintendo's because they did a direct, but yeah. So Roller Champions, a roller derby game. It looked cool. It also looked like a Rocket League ripoff. So
yeah.
Ubisoft's presentation as a whole was very much. It didn't feel very professional. It also felt like everything they showed was trying to make a statement, and I wasn't very much a fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, a lot of these conferences are just, hey, we're going to show off our new games and gather excitement. This one was like, it just was very weird to me. I didn't get it.
Yeah, it had this weird sort of importance about it, which I thought was not a good fit for Ubisoft. Gods and Monsters. This is a CG trailer for a game I don't care about.
Same.
But it was there. And then the other celebrity reveal, John Bernthal is going to star in Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Ghost Recon Breakpoint. It's the sequel to Wildlands.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm just reading things out of order.
It's
but yeah, he's starring. The Punisher is in
Wolfpack,
a Ghost Recon game.
No, I haven't played Ghost Recon since Advanced Warfighter 2, which was years ago. But this game does look pretty great, and I think John Bernthal's underrated. So I will definitely be checking this game out.
I agree with you. I think he's an underrated actor, but he's also I think I'm kind of happy to see this kind of this kind of wave of actors kind of being involved in more of these games, because I think that's almost something in itself that's probably going to be more predominant in the future. Just having well-known actors, famous actors, be the face of some of these games. I think that's a good marketing from a marketing standpoint. That's pretty genius, but also I think that that could be like almost, back in the 90s, like back when I mean, it still happens now, but you have actors who shift from theater to film, and it could be a thing from like film to games or something like that, where it's I don't know, you could find more work, you could find more money or something like that, and kind of being a face of this game or being involved in a game as an actor. So I think that's something interesting to kind of like look out for that I've noticed from this E3 at least. But I could be wrong as well, but I don't know.
I just hope it doesn't put other performance capture artists or like voiceover artists out of work, because as much as I think it's cool that Hollywood actors are becoming involved in video games and it's kind of making the industry as a result be more legitimized, I just hope it doesn't completely put out great actors like Nolan North or Troy Baker or people like them.
Yeah. Well, I think we have our proof that this is not yet a big issue. Yeah.
I mean, it's just
maybe an issue in the future.
Something
but we do have proof. Yeah.
I think it's. I mean, I guess.
Yeah. I accidentally passed over Rainbow Six Quarantine, which was announced.
I couldn't tell if this was a DLC expansion for Siege or if it was a new game.
It is a new game, and it's also a PvE spinoff. Wait, I'm reading this thing. Yeah, it's a PvE spinoff of Siege.
That's also going to be a standalone.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's based on what was an event, like a live event that was in Siege that they're now making into its own game, which I assume will have like a story and stuff. So
interesting.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Square Enix. Let me look up the summary for that. But they opened with some.
One other thing to mention about Ubisoft, real quick, while you're pulling that up, was the incredibly cringy and way too long reveal for the inevitable Just Dance 2020.
Oh yeah, I just skipped. I skipped like most of Ubisoft's conference. I saw like the important stuff, but
that was really bad.
I definitely
it was
like
really
passed over that. I was just like, nope, not doing this. Yeah, but they're always bad. Like every year, it's bad.
Yeah. This year was just especially bad because they showed this live action footage beforehand that was so self-important and ridiculous. I just had to fast forward it.
So let's see. They so I don't know what is there to talk about with Square Enix. I'm not really remembering.
There was so much Final Fantasy. Even the Final Fantasy had Final Fantasy.
Yeah, like, seriously, there's like Final Fantasy within Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
But Final Fantasy VII Remake looks awesome.
Yeah.
That game looks really, really cool.
Looks massive.
And I haven't. Yeah. Well, so it's been confirmed that the first game will, which like the first episode, whatever that means, will take up 2 Blu-ray discs worth of content.
Incredible.
Which is insane. Like, how do you manage to do that? How do you manage to do that in 5 years? that like it took Square Enix 5 years to make Kingdom Hearts 3, which is bare bones as all get out. Like, how did you make Final Fantasy VII Remake that big?
And this is only episode 1.
This is like the first chapter in the story. Like I assume this ends like I thought it would, where like they're about to go on the journey, and then like the next episode will be like the more open world thing. But man,
we'll get that next episode when I'm 30 for the most part. We're not going to get that second episode.
We don't know that.
No, Square Enix, I wouldn't be surprised.
It might be a yearly release. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. We don't know about the release schedule for this. We don't know anything about what development has looked like for this game.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Going off of Square Enix and Nomura's track record.
That's totally fair. So let's just get some of the Final Fantasy stuff out of the way. They had some Final Fantasy 14 stuff. The cinematic trailer was fine. They showed off some stuff for the Final Fantasy mobile games. There was a Final Fantasy 8 remaster that's coming out.
Yeah, and Crystal Chronicles is getting remastered too.
Yes, and more Crystal Chronicles remastered. They also announced that a bunch of Final Fantasy soundtracks are now on like music streaming websites. So that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. The Mana collection is coming out on Switch.
Oh yeah, the Mana collection is coming out on Switch.
That third one is the first time it's come out outside of Japan ever.
Yes, which is cool. Yeah, I think that's it with Final Fantasy. So we can move on to bigger and better things. Life is Strange 2 is on our that it was too long. It just went on for too long. Dragon Quest 11 was there. I played a little bit of that game, but I don't care. Romancing Saga 3 is coming to the West. They had a Dying Light 2 trailer because Square Enix acquired the studio, I think. Oninaki, which is that like spirit JRPG game thing. I didn't quite understand. I don't quite understand what that game is. I think it's a Game Freak game actually. But anyways, The Last Remnant Remastered is coming out. Octopath Traveler is coming to PC soon, which is cool.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC is coming out in winter, which I'm excited about. I refuse to get myself invested in that just because I don't need to be super hyped about a video game right now. Dragon Quest Builders 2, that presentation went on for too long. And then I think we're ready to talk about
the biggest one. Oh wait, before you get to that, Outriders was also announced too.
Oh yeah, Outriders, which that was the developers of Bulletstorm and Gears of War Judgment.
Yeah,
which is cool. Oninaki is not Game Freak; it's Tokyo RPG Factory.
Sounds
and then
right.
The second biggest game that was there, because I bet the Final Fantasy VII remake is probably gonna be bigger than this game. Marvel's Avengers had a very cinematic trailer.
Very cinematic, but also somewhat controversial.
I would say this is honestly a pretty big letdown.
Yeah, I was ready for it to blow me away, and it didn't.
Yeah, like I was expecting, and I think a lot of this was damage control, because when there was those early reports that came out before E3 about this game potentially being a like games as a service MMO style game, everybody online and all the reporters were like, "This is not what I want this game to be." And I think Crystal Dynamics got a bit spooked, and so they like distinctively, or not distinctively, but on purpose, kind of avoided saying what the game actually was going to be, because we didn't really get any concrete details about how this game actually played.
Yeah. Well, and apparently the people who have actually seen the game play have basically all said that it looks pretty good, all things considered.
But also, I think one of the another that kind of like big criticism was that like the characters didn't look like the MC, like the MCU, like characters. Like
out of all the criticisms, though, like that's the one criticism about this game that I personally didn't really mind or care about.
Yeah,
was because it's not part of the MCU, so why would you expect them to look like the MCU incarnation?
And it seems like it's a different story almost. It obviously is.
It's an original story, and new actors who are sort of doing their own takes on the role, but at the same time, their models do look kind of funky. Like it's not like they look perfect.
I think Hulk looks fine.
Hulk himself looks great, but not any of the human characters.
Thor looks like he's the same.
Cap looks super off to me.
Cap looks off, and I think that shot of Tony Stark with long hair looked weird.
Yeah. I don't know what they're going for with that.
But I just wish we could have seen actual gameplay or any concrete details of what this game actually is, because they showed Cap supposedly die in that trailer, but then they say, hey, you can play as Captain America in that speech afterwards. So, like, what's the deal here?
I have... Yeah, like, it's... What's weird about it is that they seem to be sort of, like... They're being super not committal with this, which is the wrong... Like, this is an Avengers game.
Like, this needs to go big.
This is the first Avengers game since the 2012 Avengers. And you have to make it really big and good, and you haven't yet. So I don't know what's going on with your marketing strategy, but like they missed, like, they had some cool stuff with like the DLC being free announcement and
no loot boxes.
No loot boxes and stuff, which is sort of weird for that to be cool, but like...
that's another thing I have to say for this is it's gotten to the point where loot boxes were so pervasive that it gets cheers in the audience when a company tells you, hey, we're not going to scam you. Like, it's gotten so bad that the company saying they're not going to screw you over gets applause.
Is applause. Yeah.
Pretty sad.
But otherwise, it looks like the performances are good. The people they got to play the characters are all good. But for one thing, I think it's basically confirmed at this point that Spider-Man and this game take place in the same universe, because
they were very cagey about it, because the director of Spider-Man PS4 said, like, well, we didn't design it that way, but I'm open to it if they want to, basically saying that the opportunity is there, but they haven't exactly committed to it.
Well, not to mention that when you go to Avengers Tower in
Spider-Man,
in Spider-Man, he has a comment about them being on the West Coast,
and then they're in San Francisco in the trailer.
Yeah,
so I think
like it would make perfect sense to me if they were like, the opening of this game takes place during Spider-Man PS4, something.
And they
said
that. They were partnering with PlayStation for PlayStation exclusive content, so maybe that means we get a specific, like, they said they'll be adding, at least when they say they'll be adding post-launch content, to me that means they're going to be adding in more heroes over time, and so that makes me think that when they add in Spider-Man, the PS4 users will get the specific, like, Spider-Man PS4 costume or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Or maybe the, like, Spider-Man will be in the game, but he'll only be in the game for PlayStation users, which would suck. But
the
reality. Is there anything else with Square Enix's press conference that we want to talk about? Because
really, the only reason I watched Square Enix was because they had the Avengers game. That was really the only reason why.
I was super excited. Like, I was excited for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like, I knew I was going to play it, but after this, I'm really excited for that game. That game looks really, really cool. Like, I have a sort of passing fondness for all of those characters, and to see them sort of brought to life in their original setting rather than in like a Kingdom Hearts game is super cool. So I was way more excited for Final Fantasy than I was for Avengers, which is sad but true. So Nintendo E3.
My biggest disappointment about Nintendo's was that we didn't see anything from Bayonetta 3.
Yeah, it was so. I was so expecting. I was expecting. We're not going to talk about what it actually was now, but I was so expecting that ending game that they showed to be Bayonetta 3, and it wasn't, which is so
I was
weird.
expecting either that or Metroid Prime Trilogy on Switch.
Yeah.
Which we got neither of those.
We got neither of those. So I think yeah, but we'll go through this and we'll figure this out. Let's see. This is not what I'm not finding a list. So let's talk about Link's Awakening remake.
I think it looks
that game looks cool.
Really pretty.
Yeah. It does. It looks very pretty. The art style is really nice too. It looks it's sort of refreshingly uplifting after an E3 of zombies. The game looks pretty. They had some Pokemon stuff, but that's not really worth going over. You could go watch the Pokemon Direct to see any of that. Oh yeah, I'm forgetting like the biggest news, basically the biggest news, except for the thing we're saving for the end. So the hero from Dragon Quest and Banjo-Kazooie are both coming to Smash Bros.
Yeah, I was actually just looking up
over the summer and the fall. Which that's really cool. Like I'm not a big fan of either of those characters or franchises, but like both franchises deserve to be there. And
also you have the Dragon Ball announcement too.
At Nintendo?
Dragon Ball?
I'm thinking that. Wait, am I wrong?
Oh, Dragon Quest? I
thought they were going to
add. Yeah, there was Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest. Okay, Dragon Quest.
The hero from the hero from Dragon Quest is coming to Smash. Is going to be in Smash Bros. Yes.
Smash. All right. Yes. Yeah.
Not Goku.
Yeah.
Dang
if Goku was announced to be in this game, there were I can't even imagine how the internet would riot.
Yeah, the internet would have exploded if Goku got announced for Smash Bros. So, no, not Goku.
Yeah.
Now, I can see why people would get confused by that, though, because the character designs for Dragon Quest are done by Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball. So, they all look very similar.
Yeah.
In fact, the hero from Dragon Quest has effectively the same hairstyle as Trunks. So,
and all of the heroes' alternate costumes are just the different heroes from different games.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised by either of those additions, but there are just so many other characters that I would have wanted to see more in this game that aren't going to appear now. Or aren't likely.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree
we're not
with
going to
that.
get
But
Steve from Minecraft. We're not going to get the Doom Marine. We're not going to get Leon Kennedy.
Yeah, and I think that not every character reveal is going to be for me what Joker's reveal was at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
And but to some people, Banjo-Kazooie is a really, really big deal. So I have a friend who probably fell out of his chair when he saw Banjo-Kazooie. So
which at least Banjo makes sense to me because that's a big part of Nintendo's history. So him being in Smash at least makes sense. I'm not a big Banjo fan, but it makes sense. The Dragon Quest thing is just kind of oh great, we have another character with a sword in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but at the same time, Dragon Quest deserves to be there right next to. I think Dragon Quest probably deserves it more than Bayonetta does, at least.
Yep, Bayonetta is also basically a first-party character at this point.
Yes, but if I'm just thinking about history and who quote unquote deserves it, Dragon Quest is sort of no question to me. Obviously. Personally, I would prefer several different characters, but that's that's personal. That's not
Yeah.
objective in any way. So I think that like they're both worthy additions. So anyways, we have 30 minutes to get through the rest
Luigi's
of it.
Mansion.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion 3 looks good. I've never played a single Luigi's Mansion game, but
it looks like a game I'd like to play as a kid.
Yes. It's Ghostbusters, but with Mario.
Can we talk about how hilarious Gooigi is?
Gooigi.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a really funny play on words. I liked it. It's going to be a worthy addition to their fall lineup. Like they have a game coming out once a month, and that's a good addition to it.
Yeah, like it's not gonna probably be a Switch system seller, but for Mario or Nintendo fans who already have a Switch, it's a good game to just sit down and have. It's a good game that kids are going to enjoy.
Yeah, it's a game. It looks like a game everybody can enjoy.
But like specifically, I think kids are really going to like it too.
Yeah, I agree with that. So this was kind of I was not expecting this of all things. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is coming to Nintendo Switch,
which is likely going to have a significant downgrade on this.
I'm looking at this screenshot for the video, and that is not a good look for our boy Geralt.
Yeah, it's going to look like the original Witcher did when it came out. Like it's I mean, it's still cool that people who are playing on the Switch are going to get to play this, but this is going to be a significant downgrade from the other version.
I agree with that. More Resident Evil games are coming to Switch. No More Heroes 3.
That one's big for me. I am excited about that.
Mm-hmm. Travis Touchdown comes back in 2020.
The trailer for that one, No More Heroes 3 looked pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool because at first I was like, "What is this?" And then I realized, "Oh, it's No More Heroes 3." And they showed Travis.
It's like, there's no more heroes alive or something. Like I'm the last hero alive. I'm gonna save the world.
And this pretty much proves that Travis Strikes Again was not No More Heroes 3. It was more of a side project. This is where the real No More Heroes sequel is. I think I'm excited about it. I would also like to see the first two come to Switch. Not likely going to happen, but I think it's really cool we're finally getting a third one after all these years.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what else was big. Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
That was cool.
You already mentioned the Breath of the Wild sequel.
Oh, we'll get there.
It. Yeah, we'll get there. We're going to talk about it.
Crap. I thought that would be like the first thing you meant.
It's going to be like how Halo was. We're waiting to the end.
Yeah, we're waiting to talk about that one.
I think the other big ones I wanted to mention were that other than we already talked about ports, that Witcher's coming and Resident Evil 5 and 6 are coming. The other big one for ports, I guess not ports, but another game on there is there's going to be a remake of Panzer Dragoon coming to Switch, which I would not have expected.
Oh yeah, I watched that and I was so bored when I was watching it. I was like, what is this? Get this off my screen.
Hey, the Panzer Dragoons was like one of the only good games on the Sega Saturn. So to see him remake.
Wow. Yeah. Is there any other the smaller things? Fire Emblem still looks good.
Alien Isolation's coming to Switch. Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo Olympics.
That actually looked pretty fun. I haven't bought a Mario and Sonic game since the original Winter Olympics, or maybe that's not true. Maybe I played the Wii U one, but the new Olympic games looked like a lot of fun, based on the trailer, but. We'll have to see.
And then I already mentioned it earlier, but Elder Scrolls Blades is also coming to Switch.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. That's happening.
And then that Empire of Sin, John Romero game, that 1930s like gangster.
That looked really cool.
Yeah, there was that. It reminded me a lot of like the Sin City stuff, which I feel like is sort of a direct inspiration.
The biggest surprise for me here, well, other than the one we're going to get to, was the Netflix Dark Crystal game is getting a RPG. That was a surprise.
That was so weird. I was like, I haven't watched the Dark Crystal, and so I was like, what is happening? And then I saw what it was, and I was like, oh, that's what they're doing. Okay, that makes more sense.
Like, I wouldn't have expected it. I'm like, it doesn't look bad. I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was one of the most unexpected things to show up at this year's E3.
Yeah.
So Cadence of no. We're not talking about Cadence of Hyrule. Like, it looks cool, but yeah, nobody really cares.
That is just Contra, Rogue Core, and Dragon Quest XI S. Really, other than that, we're on to the big one. Oh, and then we forgot this one too. The Daemon X Machina is coming out.
Yeah. Well, we're forgetting some key ones. So Daemon X Machina looks cool. The trailer was super wild. I had no idea what was going on. So yeah, that game's happening. Animal Crossing got delayed, but it's Animal Crossing, so
yes, people are
really excited about that. Yeah, I'm not. I don't like sort of. I don't like simulator games where it follows a real life clock. I don't like that at all. Like, I like sim games, and I like the aesthetic of Animal Crossing just fine, but it's sort of it's a hard sell to get me to pay attention for an entire day, and for you to not give me stuff to do all day.
I was watching something before we got started, and the person was like, Sims 4 pulled, like, the creators pulled a or whatever the event they had at E3 pulled the J.K. Rowling.
Oh, they did?
Because of a specific part. But yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That's funny. I didn't watch any of that. I wonder. I assume I know what that means, but I'm not going to make too many assumptions. So there was that Astral Chain. I'm really excited about that game.
It looks awesome. I cannot wait.
Yeah, that game is like, I'm like, the way that you get me to really like to get into a new IP is if it's like cyber fantasy with anime characters. That's basically how you get me excited about something. And that game is like, it's a police drama with cyber fantasy elements and awesome platinum action.
Yeah.
Like, that game is basically made for me.
Like, as long as it says Platinum Games on it, I'm likely to give it a shot. They haven't really made that many missteps. Probably only, like, I can even think of 2. So I'm excited.
Yeah. And then the biggest shock, I basically fell out of my seat. I didn't fall out, but I was freaking out when I saw this. They announced a sequel to Zelda Breath of the Wild. Which is big.
Like, I mean, Mario may be the Nintendo's mascot, but to me, Zelda is the biggest, like, franchise Nintendo has. So seeing that, I am beyond excited.
Yeah. I refuse to get excited about this because I probably have to wait another 2 years to actually play it. But maybe not, because it looks like they're using a lot of the same art style and assets. So
it's kind of like the way that Majora's Mask was for Ocarina of Time, where it's using the same assets and character models and just making a new story with those assets. So shouldn't take as long.
It shouldn't, theoretically, but we all know how Nintendo likes to delay Zelda games, so we'll see. But I was super excited. Apparently, it says that they're taking a more sort of dark approach to it. And they had, and they were in the same Hyrule in the trailer. So I don't know if that means that we're going to have a relatively similar map and it gets expanded, or if we do just a totally different map or something like that.
Yeah.
But Breath of the Wild is one of the greatest first playthroughs of any video game I've ever played. One of the greatest video games I've ever played. And it was my 2017 game of the year. So I was so excited. I was not prepared for a Breath of the Wild sequel. I thought it was going to be DLC, and I was really excited about that too. I was like, "Yes, give me an excuse to play this game." But no, it's a sequel, which is even more exciting. So,
it's a big deal to me that it's not just another Zelda game. It's the sequel, which means that it's going to be same characters, same continuity, same Link, same Zelda, not just another reincarnated version.
Which is great for Breath of the Wild specifically, because it's the first game that rests you being able to name Link away from the player.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you go into the sequel and you named your Link Ezra, and then in the sequel you name him Ahmad.
Yeah.
It's not like that. He's Link. So yeah, I was beyond excited about that. So since the prediction, I think if I'm just eyeballing this, I think I lost to the predictions game because because I guessed a lot of things that just weren't there. I think
if like you were to eyeball it.
Yeah,
I was actually going to ask.
I'm eyeballing. I think I'm pretty sure that. Let me do the count. Sawyer, can you tell us what excited you the most about this E3?
I'd say probably the most exciting thing was the potential with Halo Infinite. That game has the potential to be possibly the best Halo game since Reach, because they've taken their time with this one. It's not just we need another Xbox or another Halo game on our new Xbox. They're taking their time, making sure it's good, and I
feel like
can't wait to see what 343 actually does, because they could potentially knock it out of the park with this one.
I feel like they're almost like they want to bring it back to the basics in a way, like just kind of, or not bring it back to basics, but kind of bring back that original kind of feel that the like the original like kind of feel that kind of magic that the original game had.
And that original aesthetic too.
Yeah. So like the way that they made it seem like we started off like I think I forget the person's name, but he mentioned how that if you were gonna buy like you buy an Xbox, like the only reason why you would want to buy an Xbox is to get Halo and play the game. So that's kind of I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to me that the Xbox One only had one original mainline Halo game. I mean, it had Halo Wars 2 and it had the Master Chief Collection, but in terms of original mainline Halo game, it only had Halo 5.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So in a strange turn of events, Sawyer and I tied in a mod 1.
Okay.
Because partially because Ahmad guessed xCloud and Luigi's Mansion, as well as a fix for Fallout 76.
I feel like my guesses were safe.
Yeah, and I thought I was going to be way behind, but Sawyer and I think, sort of guessed an equal amount of outlandish and guaranteed things. So
the only one that I know for a fact that I didn't get right was guessing the Splinter Cell was going to be there. I think that's the only one I remember for sure.
So the list goes Sawyer predicted Jedi Fallen Order, previously known character, which was there. So I'll do a recount just so I know for sure. So that was right. I predicted an Elder Scrolls trailer, which was not there. Ahmad predicted an Metroid Prime 4 teaser, which was not there. I predicted a Dishonored reveal, which was not there. Sawyer, you predicted Skull and Bones release date.
That game wasn't even there.
And then we all guessed a Halo Infinite trailer, so we all get a point for that. I guessed Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC, which was there technically before the press conference, but I guessed it anyways. And the Final Fantasy VII release date, which was also there. Sawyer, you guessed something Resident Evil, right? So you get a point for that.
It's not the Resident Evil that I wanted, but there was something.
Yes, there was some Resident Evil. And then I guessed Smash DLC, which was there. Sawyer, you guessed both Metroid Prime Trilogy and new Switch hardware, both of which weren't there.
Of course. So that didn't go well.
Ahmad, you guessed a Link's Awakening trailer, which was there. Luigi's Mansion, which was there. Animal Crossing, which was there. And then I guessed Sonic game reveal, which I was really sad wasn't there. And then Ahmad, you guessed xCloud, which was there.
Well, there technically was a Sonic game there because Mario and Sonic at the Olympic.
Well, it wasn't I'm not counting that one.
It's not a mainline Sonic.
It doesn't count. That's what I was predicting. That doesn't count. And then Ahmad's, and then the last prediction on here is Ahmad fix Fallout 76, please. So Ahmad actually had 6. Because they mentioned fixing Fallout 76. So Ahmad got 6 out of his 7 predictions right. Sawyer, you only got 3.
Come on, guys.
I tried. I was hopeful.
I was.
Well.
Oh wait,
no.
I missed one. Sorry, yeah, you and I got 4. Because you also get the unveiling of the name of the next gen Xbox.
Yeah,
Ezra just said I got 0 out of 7, which would make more sense.
Ahmad, you got 6, and then Sawyer and I tied at 4.
You guys made. I respect your guys' just like predictions because it was more like. I think I took a safer route because it was just stuff that was obviously going to be there.
Yeah, but you knew how to win, and you guys
did. You did. Well, yeah, we all. I could have spent my entire game guessing the safe stuff, but I wanted to be a little. I wanted to have a little bit more desire. I wanted to want something really bad.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Next year I'm gonna go outlandish. I'm gonna be like, if we get something Crystal, I'm gonna say we get a a Willow game for Xbox One.
We get next year we get a Star Wars reboot as a video game.
We get what was that old pod racing game called Bombad Racing? We get a remaster of Star Wars Bombad Racing for PlayStation 5.
We get
Except
Final
it's the most beautiful game you've ever seen.
Next year. We get Kingdom Hearts 5 DLC.
We get more Fallout 76 fixes.
Kermit the Frog Smash. That's gonna be a big
yes. Oh, please give that to me. It's more likely that Kermit the Frog is in Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah.
Wait, is that something that could actually happen?
No, Disney has them now.
They're Disney.
Never gonna happen.
Oh, that sucks. I want that so bad now. Can you imagine Kermit the Frog ripping somebody's spine out?
I would actually, and now I really want to see that in Mortal Kombat.
Now I want to see him in Mortal Kombat, right?
Also, one big takeaway that I didn't expect to see: the Terminator was everywhere at this E3, which I didn't get. There was a lot of Hollywood at this E3, which I didn't expect.
There was a lot of Hollywood. except for at Square Enix and Nintendo, which is probably part of the reason they were my favorite press conferences.
I mean, like, I loved the Keanu moment, especially since he's actually in the game. Same with John Bernthal.
Yeah.
Those made sense because they're in the game.
Yeah,
but
those
like,
were
having like the Terminator stuff there was kind of weird because I'm like, why is every game having Terminator things? Gears 5 got Terminator. I think is Ghost Recon the other one that has Terminator?
Yeah. I think
I don't remember.
One of the trailers had this kind of like a teaser because like you see like the red like bright eyes of like of the Terminator kind of glow at the end. I forget which one, but
and I think I heard a rumor that not the actual robot Terminator, but like the Arnold skin version of the Terminator is from the first Terminator movie is going to be in Mortal Kombat 11. I think I've been hearing that. It's not been confirmed, but there's a rumor of that.
Yeah, which would make sense.
Yeah.
So
especially WB.
Yeah. I'm obviously probably the most excited just looking at or just like thinking about the list. Breath of the Wild and Astral Chain, Breath of the Wild, Fire Emblem, and Final Fantasy VII. Not in that order are my most anticipated games from this year's E3. The closest.
I'm selling like Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That game wasn't there because Sony just won't.
No, I have a feeling they'll be back next year. I think the only reason they skipped was because of I think the major reason they skipped is because they didn't have anything to show this year because they're holding off everything for PlayStation 5. But if we get an unveil soon, then I think Sony's going to have some stuff to show.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe not a stage presence, but maybe they do like a Nintendo thing where they do that like PlayStation State of Play video during E3.
Please don't do that. Nintendo has cornered the market on that. Don't do that, please.
Yeah, I don't want them to, but I have a feeling that's probably what's going to happen.
Just do what Microsoft did and walk out on stage 5 times, and then for the rest of the time, just run trailers. Like I don't know what's so hard about that.
And then like occasionally, if it's like a big reveal, they'll have like the creative director come out on stage and talk about what it was.
I think it was 2017. Yeah, it was 2017 because it was the Spider-Man reveal. Sean Layden, PS4, came out on stage twice. Once at the beginning, once at the end. They paused for Hideo Kojima to come out and say, "I'm back," and reveal Death Stranding. And then the rest of the time they just ran trailers and demos. That was it. This year, Microsoft basically did the same thing, except they came out on stage a few more times, like maybe 3 more times than that.
And then they subbed out Keanu Reeves for Kojima.
Well, no, they subbed Kojima for Keanu.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
And so, like, just do that. Like Nintendo basically did that too. Like, I don't know what's so hard about not having boring people on stage. Please just run your trailers.
I mean, as much as I like Phil Spencer, he's never going to be Reggie.
No, and like I love Phil Spencer too, but I only need him twice. I don't need him more than once.
Yeah.
And I'm also a little tired of behind the scenes videos.
Yeah, we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Getting kicked out.
All right. I have to.
I always get kicked out of libraries.
Okay. Well, you want to do the social media, Ezra?
Yeah, you could just run the social media stuff.
We are at Castkate at CASTCATE on Twitter because we're old handle, but you can find us just by searching the Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast on Twitter. We are at the Lab Rats Podcast on Instagram, and you can find this show wherever you're listening now, as well as Podbean, YouTube, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or Google Play Podcasts, same thing, and Spotify.
Neat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope we'll see you next time. So, bye.
Bye.